Welcome to the Helitune stand, where I'm delighted to be joined by Peter Morris, who's come all the way from North Devon today. How did you get here?
Well, that's a good question. I actually came by train, not by helicopter, but that's just a shame.
How were the vibrations on that train for you, Peter?
Well, British Rail, not particularly good, so I think we could help them out.
Right. Well, speaking of which, for the uninitiated, just give us a quick rundown of what it is that Helitune actually does.
Yeah, okay. So Helitune makes systems actually for reduction of vibration. So we measure things like the rotor, main rotor, tail rotor. We're looking to try and help the helicopter fly smoother and reduce noise and have a more comfortable ride.
So is this a hardware solution, software solution?
It's a mixture of all of those things. So we go right the way from the sensor through to the actual measurement electronics, and then we take the data off and do the analysis, and then that passes it back to either the helicopter manufacturer or the customer, and allows them to understand what's actually going on within their helicopter itself.
Okay. So you've got a box that reads in some sensor data, you get some data that goes out of that, you crunch it through your software, yes, and you provide stuff back to the manufacturers in terms that they can understand, hopefully to enable a smoother ride going forward.
That's right, yeah. And we've got a few of these pieces of equipment on our stand today. So
let's have a look. So we've got something spinning around. I'm going to come around this side just so I can get out of the way of the camera. Tell me what's going on here, Peter.
Okay, so with this model here is simulating a main rotor and a tail rotor. So it's in a Perspex case, makes it nice and easy and safe for people to look at. So we're monitoring the vibrations through sensors here on the back.
Right, so these sensors over here, yep, sure.
Yep, coming down into our data collection system here, which is the black box in the cabinet.
Okay.
And the box is processing that data, and then we then serve that back up to a handheld terminal, which typically the user would have in the cockpit during maintenance activities. Sure. These checks tend to happen sort of around every 50 or 100 hours.
Okay. So it's not real-time monitoring at all, it's just stuff, like you say, during maintenance stuff that you can then feed back into the helicopters to make it that bit smoother.
That's right, but we do actually have systems which are actually fitted permanently to the aircraft as well, which are monitoring data sort of 24/7 when the aircraft's actually in flight. And then we can look to pick up things, for example, that might be occurring within the transmission system, so early signs of bearing wear or gear wear. And then if we can then present that data to the maintenance teams, they can make sort of preventative maintenance actions before problems occur.
And is there any kind of prediction as well, given the amount of data that you can, say, well, actually, based upon this, in eight months' time, in 3 days, we predict that this thing might happen?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a team of engineers back at Torrington working on the algorithms to actually do that kind of analysis. Also teamed with universities within the UK. It's quite a challenge being able to predict. It's a little bit like the weather, but as we sort of develop those systems over the years, they become more and more accurate. So
you've got an actual helicopter. It's a model helicopter, but it's still an actual helicopter rotating away here. Tell me what this is about here.
Okay, so this particular model here is actually illustrating some of the other sensors that we've got within the company's capabilities. So it's looking at the actual rotor blade tip height in flight.
So
it's an optical sensor, yeah. And again, well, it's important when the helicopter's flying, you want the blade tips to actually be flying through the same path of air. And if we can actually achieve that, then the helicopter flies smoother. And with the optical sensor, we can also detect potential signs of wear and damage within the rotor. And again, that gets fed into the maintenance programs for the helicopter itself.
Now, I get how this works with this optical sensor here at the tips. I get how that works for a model, but when you scale this up to a full-size helicopter, and goodness knows we've got enough of them around the floor here at Helitech International, how does that work? Is it the same camera that you're using basically for that?
It is, yeah, it's the same camera. So, yeah, in this case, it's scaled down. It's actually more difficult for us to get it to work for the helicopter model than it is for the target. As you can imagine, it's key that it works on the target aircraft. But, yeah, the sensor would be permanently mounted to the aircraft. It's monitoring the data continuously, and there's lots of interesting things we can pick up from that data to understand about the aircraft's behaviour.
Fascinating stuff, and I guess at the end of the day, the smooth running of these rotors in helicopter technology, that's kind of important, isn't it?
It's absolutely critical. Yeah, absolutely critical. Yeah, and by working. Yeah, so we're one part of the supply chain. We're working with helicopter manufacturers, we're working with end users, and we look to work together to provide the solutions which will make their life and every day easier.
Sure. Now, without giving too much away, you're a bit of a Helitech International veteran, aren't you? Why do you keep on coming back?
Well, I keep coming back to Helitech because it's pretty much the only exhibition which fits what we do as a business. So we've got all the right people here, customer-wise. There's also people within the supply chain that we're actually talking to. So it's a great opportunity for us once a year to actually get to talk to those people and get our name out there and tell everybody what we're up to.
Well, listen, I hope your journey back to North Devon is as smooth as it possibly can be. Maybe you should have a chat with the train industry as well to see if they can rustle down some of the bumps on their journeys, although I'm sure that's down to the tracks as much as anything else. But no, listen, Peter, thank you so much for joining us today and telling us everything about Helitune. Have a great rest of show.
Okay, thanks very much.